The worst WNBA trade in history has gone down, and it has nothing to do with basketball. Well, kind of. Britney Griner has been traded for Viktor Bout, world-renowned Russian arms dealer, and this comes at the cost of leaving behind Paul Whelan. Who is Paul Whelan, you ask? Exactly. Welcome to Maison Noir, where we discuss current events, pop culture topics, fitness, philosophy, relationships, and other male-related topics from the male perspective. If you're new here and like what you see, consider subscribing. All right, enough chit-chat. Let's get into it. Now, this trade is not only one of the most asinine moves by the US government, aka the Biden administration, it also shows where their true intentions lie. And if you ask me, I think that's more so in the position of trying to placate for votes instead of actually trying to resolve real-world issues like the war in fill in the blank and potentially stopping what could be World War III. But now you might be asking, how did Britney Griner get arrested in the first place? WNBA star Britney Griner was arrested in Russia in February on drug smuggling charges after a vape cartridge was allegedly found in her carry-on luggage at a Moscow airport. Now, I know she didn't do anything like heinous, but if you ask me, if you did the crime, you low-key gotta do the time. But what's even crazier to me is that somehow, some way, she managed to get back home, all at the cost of Paul Whelan. So who is Paul Whelan exactly? Paul Whelan, 52, is a US citizen who has been and still is detained in Russia on espionage charges for the past 4 years. Whelan served in the Marine Corps from 1994 to 2008 after being discharged for bad conduct. Now you're probably wondering, well, what does this have to do with being arrested in Russia? Well, Whelan's family states that while he was in Iraq, he often visited the country from time to time. Now, Whelan was arrested by Russia's Federal Security Service at a Moscow hotel on December 28, 2018. The FSB claimed that he was carrying out an espionage operation, which resulted in his arrest. Whelan's brother David said Whelan was in Moscow for the wedding of a fellow Marine. The morning of the wedding, Whelan gave the couple a tour of the Kremlin, but they stopped hearing from him before the ceremony. He was arrested after allegedly receiving a USB drive containing state secrets while in Moscow. Whelan said he thought the drive held an acquaintance's vacation photos. And honestly, I could probably agree with that. Like, I know everyone in this story is a little bit shady, especially Viktor Bout, which we'll get to in a second. But in Paul's case, it seems like he was just, doing his time in Iraq, doing his service, and then he would just visit Russia. Perhaps there could be something a little bit nefarious, maybe. But if there's anyone who's been doing anything nefarious this entire time, it is Viktor Bout. Former Russian Lieutenant Viktor Bout, aka the Merchant of Death, became one of the world's biggest arms dealers, flying his ancient Soviet planes into battlefields from Liberia to Afghanistan. He is arguably the most notorious arms dealer in modern history. Nicolas Cage actually played a character inspired by Bout in the 2005 drama Lord of War. He's got an extensive list of clientele, which includes rebel groups and militia from the Congo to Angola and Liberia. In Afghanistan, he variously sold guns to Islamist Taliban insurgents and their foes in pro-Western northern alliances. Bout also supplied guns to then Liberian president and warlord Charles Taylor, now serving a 50-year prison term for murder, rape, and terrorism, and to various Congolese factions as well as Philippine Islamist militant groups Abu Sayyaf. So this guy clearly puts business over morals, which is probably expected, especially if you're an arms dealer. But with a resume like that, Viktor Bout should have never been out of prison. In fact, he should have never been up for this trades agreement to begin with. Also, on a more opinionated level, I think in Britney Griner's case, if you're going to go ahead and bash America one moment and then ask for its services the next and ask for it to come save you, that's a little hypocritical in my book. The fact of the matter is, as much as we like to proverbially shit on America, America has a lot of good to offer. And in fact, I'd still argue that it is probably one of the best countries in the world. Am I blue-pilled enough to say that it doesn't have any problems? No. However, I would like to say, if you compare us to about every other country, except like, I don't know, Denmark or like Sweden or something, we probably fall within the top 10 of best countries to live in. And like I said, we do have problems. We do have issues that we need to focus on. I don't think to go ahead and bash America one moment, and then once you get in trouble, you're asking for America's help the next, doesn't really make any sense to me. But let me ask you, do you think this was a good move by the government? Leave your thoughts below in the comment section. Thank you so much for tuning in and stopping by. If you're new here, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. We are on the road to 100 subscribers, and every subscriber subscriber counts. If you like the content, watch one of these videos. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.